Welcome to part 2 of this DIY project on powder room makeover. If you have missed part 1, you should check it out. I will post the link in the description. Let's quickly recap of what we have done in part 1. I showed you how to remove the existing toilet and sink, and I made my own tool to remove the tiles. Then I had to deal with unexpected mold. Garbage disposal is something that you need to consider before starting the project. After that, I talked about reusing the mortar bat and also talked about Ditra. Then I applied the self-leveling compound. It's not too difficult at all if you follow what I did. If you are hiring a contractor, this is a good reference so that you don't get ripped off. Before installing the tiles, I want to go into a bit details on reusing mortar bat versus Ditra. As a DIYer, you have the luxuries where professional installers don't. That's unlimited time. There are a couple of advantages of reusing mortar bat. If you are dealing with only a small area, you can get rid of the floor tiles as part of your regular garbage. You may need several months, but it saves a lot of money. Reusing mortar bat does take more time. However, as I said before, DIYer has unlimited time. In terms of money, it's way cheaper than Ditra. For DIY people don't install tiles every day. Self-leveling compound almost guaranteed the final result. How can you mess it up when the ground is already flat? Now, professional installers do not do it this way, because they will lose money just driving back and forth to the job site. Ditra solves a lot of this problem. That's why remodeling contractors love Ditra. It only takes half a day to remove the tiles with the mortar bat down to the plywood. You can then apply modified thinset, install Ditra and install tiles using unmodified thinset on the same day. If you have two professional guys, this can be done in one day, the next day to grout, and you are done. I have another project that uses Ditra XL. The coolest thing is that you can make the transition between the hardwood floor and the tiles leveled. I will show it to you how I did it. I am going to publish that video in the near future. Let's go back to the project. I am going to cut the tiles for the toilet flange. Here is a simple DIY tips. Use a piece of masking tape on the tile and draw the circle using a compass. Next, I need a diamond blade for my angle grinder. I bumped into this Hitachi blade at my local hardware store. It's made in Japan and, surprisingly, is half the price of DeWalt. That's pretty much self-explanatory. It's very easy. Now let's go back inside to see if it fits. Looks perfect. That's awesome. Here's another DIY tips I want to share with you. This Milwaukee ink saw is an amazing product. You can write it on the tile even the surface is wet or dusty. Trust me, you will thank me for this. However, I don't recommend this Mastercraft wet saw from Canadian Tire. It's cheap, but all my clothes were wet. This is how you cut the rectangle for the floor register. First, you cut it from the top. Because the blade is in round shape, you cannot reach the corners. Now, flip it to the other side and finish up the corners. Here you go. Look at this, perfectly fit. For DIY people, I strongly recommend to do a dry run without thinset. Any miscalculation can still be fixed at this point. If you are not doing this by yourself, that's something that you need to pay attention if you are hiring a contractor. If you want high quality work, you need to work on the door jamb and fit the tile underneath. I have seen some people cut the tiles around the door jamb, leave it with some space and filled the gap with either thinset or silicone. Similar to installing the hardwood floor, you don't want to leave any gaps around the door jamb. Back in 2012, I installed the engineering hardwood floor in our old house. I documented everything in details. I did not have any videos at that time. You can check out my blog for details. I will post the link in the description. A good tile installer should be proud of their work. I would stay away from any contractors who refuse to do this. Next, I am using Makeover Ultra Flex LFT. This is a polymer modified thinset. It's very important to use polymer modified on porcelain tiles when bonding to mortar bed or any cement-based surface. The biggest mistake most people made is to use polymer modified when setting porcelain tiles over Ditra. The thinset will not dry. You have to use unmodified thinset. As I said many times in my videos, always RTFM. Mix the thinset until it doesn't drip. Now, here is a technique called back buttering. For DIY people, you need to do this. This guarantees your thinset has enough coverage. Many professional tile installers who do this every single day, they know what they are doing. They don't back butter because thinset's coverage and support can be achieved by using an appropriate trowel notch with the right size and shape, direction and technique, mortar selection and mixing. For DIY people or general contractors don't have that knowledge and skills, you are asking for failure. Back buttering solves all this problem and your project will be guaranteed to be successful. The only drawback is it takes more time and effort. Always check for level. With self-leveling compound, it's very easy. You don't need those fancy tools to help you. However, for Ditra on plywood, I strongly recommend that. What happens if tile installation fails? You may have loose tiles, or you may hear hollow sound when walking on it. Even worse, squeaky noise. One of my friends hired some general contractors to do the floor tiles in the kitchen, and he had the hollow sound problem. The contractor refused to come to fix the problem, because they will lose money. So, my friend told me he bought this product called Fix a Floor, and it fixed the problem. Now, for you DIY people, if you follow what I did, you will never need this. Grouting is very easy. Now, you may have a question on sanded grout versus unsanded grout. Usually, joints are greater than 1/8 of an inch. You will need sanded grout. Looking good. Wait for it to dry overnight. The next day, you can do more cleanup. Another DIY tips, don't waste your grout on the edges. Leave some space for expansion and movement. Also, it will be covered by the baseboard and quarter round anyways. At this point, if you install the toilet bowl, you will be asking for trouble. It will leak. You need to make sure the toilet flange is 1/4 above the finished floor. As you can see, mine is 1/4 below the tile. To fix the problem, there are products called toilet flange extension. You can find it in your local hardware store. This is the first product I found it at Canadian Tire. It looks very slim. In order to make up the difference, you probably need to stack 2 of them together. Not ideal. The other product is from Home Depot. It has better center support and it comes with some adhesive gasket. It's much thicker and I only need 1. I think it's a better choice. Now we have another problem. If you try to fit the toilet flange extension kit on the existing flange, 2 screws are perfectly aligned, but the other 2 are not. What is going on? Honestly speaking, I have no idea, but I will show you how to solve this problem. Before that, we need to clean up the surface of the toilet flange using some very fine sandpaper, so the gasket will work properly without any leaking. Look, all the dirt are gone. Time to install the gasket. For the 2 holes which are perfectly aligned, use the screws come with the extension kit. For the other two holes which are not aligned, yes, the solution is to pre-drill them through the toilet flange down to the plywood. Then secure them using the rest of the screws. Problem solved. Now check for level. If it's not level, you are screwed. Also check the height. The new toilet flange extension should be 1/4 of an inch above the tile. Perfect. Time to paint the wall and install the baseboard and quarter round. It's pretty straightforward. To make the powder room look more dramatic and stand out from the others, I am installing this tile on the accent wall. This tile is called Mother of Pearl. This tile looks very pretty. To stick it on the wall, you don't need any thinset. I am using Makeover Type 1 tile adhesive. It looks fantastic. For the corners, I recommend using silicone caulking to give it a smooth transition to the drywall. Next, we are going to install this Santa Rosa one-piece toilet by Kohler. The toilet comes with a wax ring, but I don't like it because it's not heavy-duty enough and is not reinforced in the center. So, I bought a reinforced jumbo wax ring from a local hardware store. Oh yes, this looks much better. This will actually make your life easier during installation because the reinforced plastic in the middle will act as a guide. Another DIY tips: if you are doing it by yourself, put a masking tape on the tile to help locating the screws. Now, secure the nuts but don't over tighten it. If there is some minor movement, you can use composite shim to fix it. Let's check for leveled. It's close to perfect. That's good enough. New toilet is clean. You can put your hands into it. I'm not sure if you want to do that after 2 years. It flushes successfully without any leaking. It comes with a soft close toilet seat, but that's not cool enough. If you have good eyes, you see there is a GFCI outlet. Yes, I am installing a bidet. North American people find it weird because they have a misconception of shit splashes everywhere. Indeed, many European countries have the standalone bidet in their bathroom for many centuries. In Italy, they even passed a law to make every house must have at least one bidet starting from 1975. The electronic bidet, on the other hand, was made popular by the Japanese. It comes with seat warmer and blue LED lights, so you can aim properly in the middle of the night. Here's a very important DIY tips. When you apply silicone caulking, you only apply to the front and onto the sides. Leave the back alone, because in case of leaking, you will know and you can fix it right away before water drips downstairs. Next, I am installing the vanity and the sink. It's pretty straightforward. One thing I want to share with you, this brand called Glacier Bait from Home Depot is not as good as you think. It's cheap, but you pay for what you get. I cannot even get it leveled because the front of the ceramic sink was crooked. It's typical made in China crap. Alright, time to do some plumbing. It's very easy. All you have to do is to install the P-trap. One DIY tips. Any fittings that comes with rubber washer, you don't need any Teflon tape or joint compound. However, you do need that if there is no washer. Take a look at this part. I personally like joint compound more than Teflon tape. It's a little bit messy, but the chance of leaking is close to zero. I strongly recommend to DIY people. Finally, I am installing the faucet with the same brand as the toilet, Kohler. You may be wondering, that's very expensive. Another DIY tips, wait for it to go on sale on Black Friday or Boxing Day. I never buy this at regular price. Now, check it out, moment of truth. No leaking at all. Of course, you need to do some cosmetic stuff like installing the light fixture and hanging the mirror on the wall to make it look like a powder room. I strongly recommend to fasten the cabinet to the wall. At this point, everything is completed except there is a minor imperfection I need to fix. But before fixing that, let's take a look and check out the result. Isn't that looking amazing? If you have good eyes, you will see there is a height difference between the tile and the hardwood floor. To fix that, I bought a wood transition strip from a local hardware store and I used the hand plane to make it slimmer. Yes, that's a very tiny Japanese hand plane. Next, I am using the stain from Minwax to make it darker. For the wood grain to stand out, after you put the stain on, wipe it off using cheesecloth. Let it dry. Next day, use the fine sandpaper or steel wool to sand the surface. Then apply the stain again, wipe it off, let it dry. Repeat this for 2 more times. Now you will see the wood grain. It's so pretty. You can do this with maple, oak, or any other hardwood. Forget about softwoods such as pine, you will get disappointed. After that, you can apply the polyurethane clear coat finish. Yes, the whole process will take several days. Use your favorite adhesive to glue it down. I prefer to use construction adhesive and put some weight onto it and let it dry overnight. The final step is to use Minwax wood putty to fill the tiny gap between the tile and the transition piece. Then we are 100% completed. The final result is looking awesome. The whole project took me 3 months. Keep in mind, I do have a 9 to 5 full-time job and I only do this on the weekends and couple of days here and there after work. If I can do it, so can you. I hope this helps. Give this a thumbs up if you find some good information in this video. My goal is to inspire more people into DIY. You may also want to check out other videos on my channel. I am pretty sure you will love them. Remember to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.